We all have dreams and causes that we live to support. Personally, I've always tried my best to support and fight for the Palestinian cause and to show people that they should too. What is happening in this maltreated country isn't a simple conflict between two states, but a model example of ethnic cleansing, genocide, and discrimination. I am here today to illustrate to all of you that the inaccurate portrayal on the media, the unjust discrimination towards Palestinians, and the police and military brutality are all reasons as to why the Palestinian cause is one worth supporting. Firstly, the mainstream media fails to portray the Palestinian cause with accuracy or empathy, leading the world to constantly be blinded by Israel's fake narrative. Palestinians are losing their lives, homes, childhoods, and loved ones every single day. Meanwhile, Israel's hiding behind paid-off media outlets and politicians, convincing the world that the missiles and bombs that killed thousands of Palestinian families and resulted with thousands of others to be homeless was just self-defense. Israel makes it seem like they're suffering, that they are dying, that they need the sympathy of the world, but as much as the media tries to normalize this by using words like conflict in the reports, it is clear oppression, genocide, and apartheid towards the Palestinians that need your support. Israel has the most advanced military in the world. It has a $3.8 billion military budget, up to 513,000 military ground forces personnel, 20,000 serving in their navy, and much more serving in their air force. Meanwhile, Palestine has no army, navy, or air force. All they have are their voices and the voices of their supporters. So let me get this straight. Israel is a technologically advanced, economically rich, US-supported, nuclear-armed regional superpower that continuously plays the victim and hides behind the mask of the media. How can villagers with stones be equal to a nuclear superpower? Malcolm X wasn't lying when he said that if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. I stand by the oppressed, and so should you. Moreover, the imprisoned and besieged city of Gaza, a city in Palestine, constantly finds itself gripped by terror and death at the hands of Israel's war machines. The statistics say it all. Up to 2 million people in Gaza do not have access to basic needs such as food, clean water, electricity, and healthcare. 1 out of 3 people in Gaza cannot afford nutritious food. 80% rely on humanitarian aid, according to the UN, and 1 million live under the poverty line. Israel even imposes restrictions on the movements of goods and people in and out of the city. By forcing people into these conditions, Israel has broken more than 62 UN resolutions without facing any consequences. I have an aunt that lives in Gaza. Her and her family of 6 only get 4 hours of electricity a day. 4 hours to wash her clothes, clean the dishes, watch the news, take a shower, and much more. 24-hour electricity has been a distant dream for well over a decade. Once my grandmother passed away not so long ago, she couldn't even attend her funeral. So while Israelis can buy their children toys, go to the beach, and walk freely on their stolen land, Palestinian farmers cannot access their crops, shop owners cannot stock their shelves, and Palestinian families who have fled their homes lost what little belongings they had. This is the reality of 2 million people living in Gaza today. 2 million people that need your support. Now, the brutality of the Israeli army and police truly shows the face of Israel and are model reasons as to why the Palestinian cause needs your support. For example, in the occupied Jerusalem neighborhood called Sheikh Jarrah, Israeli forces storm the neighborhood and assault Palestinian families by shooting tear gas and sound bombs at them, a disgusting attempt to force them out and to pave the way for settlers to take over their homes. The brutality doesn't stop there. Up to 500 to 700 Palestinian children are arrested, detained, and prosecuted by the Israeli military court system each year. Another example, not so long ago, on May 5, 2021, a young boy named Saeed Ode was walking the streets of his neighborhood when Israeli forces fired live ammunition at them. They injured Saeed and continued to injure Saeed's friend who was with them as he attempted to approach Saeed in order to help him. They then continued to prevent a Palestinian ambulance from reaching the boys for over 15 minutes, and by the time they reached them, it was too late. So while Israelis can excuse their actions by classifying them as self-defense, they can easily sentence a Palestinian up to decades in prison. But if they shoot at Palestinians and kill them, at best they'll just get some community service. No child should ever fear their life as they walk the streets of their neighborhood. The children of Palestine need to have their voices heard. The effort to erase Palestine is not going away, but is in fact gaining momentum. We can't continue to give Palestine seasonal attention. We can't continue to let Palestine lose their homes, childhoods, and loved ones. We can't continue to let innocent children ask themselves, fireworks or bombs, whenever they hear a slightly loud blare. The Palestinian cause is a cause that needs to be affirmed and reaffirmed continuously, forcefully, and vocally. Even if Israel has erased Palestine from your feed, do not erase it from your heart.